my world enlighteners. I'm coming to you today to have a little discussion about the importance of bringing out your inner child. Excuse my appearance. I'm all about being real and being me, and I just worked out my inner child and felt compelled to do this little Enlightened Classroom episode for you while the thought was fresh in my mind. And so what I wanted to discuss was how important on this journey, especially if you're someone who has children in your life, but yet you want to stay aligned, you want to stay awakened, you want to stay enlightened, how important it is that you are in touch with your inner child. That is the basis of grounding yourself in the morning. It is the basis of healing our sacred wounds in our sacral chakra, in our womb. You know, if for men, in your genitalia, we have sacred wounds from past lives, generational DNA wounds, and then wounds from this life that exist by suppressing that inner child, the inner mystic. Children always have a knowing about them of what's not real. Their imaginations, which is what we end up calling it as they get older, as we get older, what's in our imagination is our true creation of our lives. Think about when you were a little kid, and it doesn't matter your situation, it really doesn't. Whether you come from the meagerest of backgrounds or the wealthiest of backgrounds, all children do the same thing, and they fantasize about the life that they want. And it's so important that if you stopped doing that, which many of us have, because life starts happening and that becomes a waste of time and people call you a dreamer or flighty, but that really is the key to all of this, is keeping that childlike imagination going and here all the time and here. And pushing out those ideas of being realistic. You're realistic all the time, aren't you? If you go to work, you're being realistic. If you make breakfast for the family in the morning, you're being realistic. Those are the things you know you have to do. So maybe there's a time period in our lives, I don't know that I agree with this, where we really do have to get down to brass taxes, as they say, and knuckle down and figure things out and take on responsibility. But I feel like those things happen whether we want them to or not. And I'm not saying be irresponsible, and I'm not saying, live in a fantasy world. I'm saying keep the fantasy world here and keep moving toward those fantasies, those desires, things that you've put into your vortex, just like when you were a little kid. Take small actions towards them. Stay in your reality, you can stay in the world, but watch how things start to change for you when you re-grasp that. So over the next few classes, I'm going to be bringing us back into that inner child through dance, through expression, through art, through sound. These are all very primal spiritual activities that humans have been doing in spiritual traditions for thousands of years. And we've turned them into something that only children do or crazy people. So call me crazy, I do it. But those are the things that bring us back to that inner child. That inner child we need to heal. That inner child we need to remember, and that inner child we need to give honor to, because that's who we truly are. And all the other stuff kind of piles on top of that. And the base of who we are is that explorative, beautiful, pure, innocent child with somehow an innate wisdom, which we notice all children have. And in doing that for ourselves, our lives with children kind of become a little bit easier. We remember how we thought when we see our children or the children we work with behaving in a certain way and why we behave that way. And that alters our reaction to it. We start to have fun with our children because we're grasping that inner child. Having fun with our children, sitting down, and I'm on the floor. I'm on the floor on purpose because that's where kids hang out. And I like hanging out here too. And getting down on the floor, playing with your kids, singing songs in the car, with the windows down and letting your arms fly out the window. Do it. Do all of it. Embrace your inner child. It's not childish. It's childlike. And in order to stay in a state of happiness and in a state of joy and in alignment with our source, we need to be in a place of bliss. And that's where children are all the time. And the best thing to see, and it's also heartbreaking at the same time, is when you watch young children in foreign countries with very depressed circumstances, barely, they don't have shoes, they barely get water. But watch the children. Yeah, they have terrible situations, and that's our job as the adults and people from countries that can help to give assistance to those countries. But that's not my point. My point is, watch the children. They still have big grins on their faces. They still are giggling and running around with each other. They're still singing songs. They're still hugging their mommies. They're still holding hands with each other. In any situation where you see children together, they're still happy and they're still being children. Because no one's told them any different yet. Children are so pure and so just honest with who they are. Excuse me. And that's who you want to be. And that's where you want to be. You want to remember that. And it sounds like a bunch of hooey and a bunch of malarkey and you're like, oh, fine, Nicki, whatever. But that's the truth. So over our next few Enlightened Classroom episodes, I will be giving you tools and ways to bring out your inner child. Some of the ways will be extremely grounding and they'll work on your root chakra. All of the ways will work on your sacral chakra. A lot of the ways may bring up, childhood wounds, which in our solar plexus tends to hang out there. So you may, have some things come up, memories come up, and it may push out some purging, which is what you want it to do. And it's not the best feeling, but it does end quickly. And, and absolutely, anytime you're working with your inner child, you are opening and expanding your heart chakra. It's just opening up because children's heart chakras they're wide open. They haven't been told to close them yet. They haven't had a reason to block them yet. And we're definitely going to work on that throat chakra, because what do kids do? They laugh loud, they scream, they sing. Their throat chakras are wide open and active in a positive way, balanced. And in doing all of these things, you will find that this third eye chakra just... And of course, anytime our inner child is our connection to source, so our crown chakras are wide open. So it's like a balancing in 10 minutes that you can do once a day just to bring yourselves back. And if you can do it more and you can get yourself into that idea of being like a child all day, you're gonna be the happiest person. So I just wanted to talk to you about that. I wanted to invite you to watch the videos we have to come. And yes, I will be making a fool of myself. And I invite you to make a fool of yourself with me and to continue that even when you're not watching me and make a fool of yourself even more. I've never stopped being like a child. You can ask anyone who knows me. I'm the silliest, goofiest person, constantly doing something creative. Everyone has called me a dreamer my whole life, and guess what? Don't care, because I'm who I am, just like a child. And my whole life has been devoted to children, from the time I was 9 years old to this day. As a mom, as a teacher, as a caregiver, I've devoted my life to children. I don't think it ever was my intention, because my imagination, dreams never really involved working with children, having children, but I just enjoy being around children. I think it brings me to who I am, and if you're drawn to enlighten my world, you also are one of those people who are drawn to be around children and work with children, and it'll help you. It'll help you to stay balanced. It'll help you to put yourself in a better mood. It'll help you to get some of that energy out and that stress out that often comes with parenting and just running a household. So I invite you. I'm excited for these next few videos, and big hugs and blessings galore from Nicki. Bye-bye.